So last September, I was doing a wedding reception when my mixing board failed. Yeah, it started turning on and off all by itself. And what's wrong with the mixing board? I can literally spend like a few seconds troubleshooting this. I can make sure it's plugged in and plugged in tight. But other than that, I need to move on and just get music up and running again as quickly as possible. And there is a really quick way I can do this with the system that I had. It's not this exact system, but it was very similar to this. Let me show you how I bypassed the mixer and finished the wedding. So the first thing you're going to want to do is not panic. That's not going to do you any good. Now in this case we're running VDJ on a PC and I'm running USB out to the mixing board, so the mixing board's acting as the sound card and MIDI and everything else. So the first thing I want to do is unplug that USB port to the mixer. So there's no connections to the mixer anymore. Step 2, I got a cable like this. It's a stereo mini on one side, maybe you can see that, and it's RCA left and right on the other. This is going to work for what I'm going to do with this particular system. I'm going to plug this mini plug into the headphone jack of the computer. Now, depending on what program you're using or what computer you're using, you may get a pop-up like this, where it's asking, what are you doing? What are you trying to run here? We're going to tell it we want to run speakers, okay? That's what we want to do. Okay. And then we can close this window. It knows that the mini plug is going to be used for speakers. Now while I'm here, I'm going to turn the volumes down on my gains, because I don't want them cranked up. Let's turn those down for now. Alright, now we're going to move on to a powered speaker. It doesn't matter if it's the left or right one, it's just one of the powered speakers that I was using. It wasn't this exact speaker, but it was very similar, where it almost has its own mixing board in the back. Here you see I've got RCA ins, and I've got quarter and XLR combination ins here and here. This is the cable that is plugged into my mixing board. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to turn the volumes down on both of these inputs. Now, I'm going to take the other end of the cable that we plugged into the computer. Now we'll do it right. We'll do red here and white here. So we're going to run a stereo signal into the speaker direct from the computer with the volume turned all the way down. Now, as far as the other speaker goes, I'm going to unplug that from the back of the mixer and take that and plug it into here. So now I've got output going to my second speaker. I've got input here. What's this thing for? Now what I'm going to be able to do very easily is unplug the XLR output from the mixing board and plug it directly into a microphone. So now I have a mic. Now let me just show you something real quick. This particular microphone isn't the mic I had, but this is the mic I should have had. It has an on-off switch on it. This is a really inexpensive utility mic from, I think, American Audio. You can get cheap mics like this. They're kind of cool to have in your spare bag. And the reason this on-off switch is so important is because, well, here, I'll show you. The microphone is plugged into this input right here. So I'm going to give it a little bit of volume. I'm going to turn the mic switch on. Test 1, 2. Maybe I want it a little louder than that. I turned it up. Test 1, 2. Okay, let's try that. So I can talk on the microphone, no problem, but when I set it down, it's going to make a noise, right? And it might even feed back or pick up something I don't want it to pick up. So having that on-off switch on there is very helpful. I can just turn it off and set it down. There's no noise. Now that we have mic, let's get the music back up. I'm going to turn this volume up here on this particular channel to like 0 dB. Okay, so the bad news is we can no longer cue a song, but we can definitely finish the evening. And if you remember, I brought these volumes down on the line faders in the internal mixer. So I'm going to press play on this deck and slowly bring the volume up. And yep, we have sound. Now I can turn it way up, or I can turn it down. I can adjust it that way. Now as far as the second deck goes, again, it's all internal. We can use this crossfader here. Of course, we want to bring the volume up. So that's how I was able to get up and running really fast after a mixer failure at my wedding in September. Now, the setup that you have might be different, but it's something to think about. Could you get up and running pretty quick if there was a problem? Back in the old days, we had to bring a spare mixer. We don't really have to anymore if we think things out and come up with these emergency backup plans. Now, even if I had a spare mixing board, it probably would have taken me more time to swap the board out than it did to just do what I did here. So anyway, quick video for you. Hope it helps somebody, gave you some ideas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Practice and enjoy.